Hello everyone and welcome to Essential Skills with Melissa Daly. I am Melissa Daly, your teacher for the school year, and this is my TV show called Essential Skills. This is an adult basic education class. If you're watching for the first time, we are brought to you by San Juan Unified School District. If you're watching on Comcast or SureWest, you're also maybe watching other TV shows on this channel that are broadcast from Sacramento State, the university. This is an adult basic education show. And this week I am going to talk to you all about what my class is. I'm going to show you a little bit of each of the shows that I have in store for you, and I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect this school year, and you have a chance to register every TV show that I'm on, pretty much every TV show. And I'm really looking forward to this year and to bring you all these really great topics. So let's go ahead and get started. This is called Essential Skills, and I'm going to give you an introduction today called A, and my next show this week will be the introduction, the letter B. So, as I mentioned, this is a program brought to you by the San Juan Unified School District. This is called a distance learning program. So what that means is any show that you see on this channel that's part of the distance learning program, that means the teacher is broadcasting to you on TV in San Juan High School studio, and they're going to correspond with you via email or phone or office visits. You're able to attend class by watching the TV show, and the teacher will send you materials that go along with this class. For me, in my class, Essential Skills, I am going to have a web page. I'm not going to send you any materials. Unless you'd like to register to become a student, then you're going to call the number that comes up on your screen, you leave a name and address, and someone will send you a registration form in the mail. You'll fill out that form, send it back in the envelope that we give to you, and then you will be checking off what classes you want to be enrolled in. And this teacher will contact you, and you're in the class. In my class, I'll talk to you about this in a couple of minutes, but you must have an email address and you must have regular access to the internet, because all of my materials, you're going to watch them on TV and also be able to see them on my website. We have a lot of classes on TV this year. You might be able to catch Inglés y Tú, which is an English as a second language class that's also taught a little bit in Spanish. So if you have an interest in improving your English skills and Spanish is your first language, or if you'd like to just have practice listening to Spanish, it's a really great class, and it shows lots of really great videos, really great teacher named Marisol. We also have GED on TV. If you would like to prepare for and pass the GED test, General Education Development, which is the equivalent of a high school diploma, we have a TV show for you. I'd like to also mention that at Sunrise Tech Center on Sunrise Avenue in Oak, past Sunrise Mall, and also Winterstein Adult Center at Fair Oaks and Morse, the other end of Fair Oaks, we have a large DVD library where you can get English as a second language video series. We have many of those, GED, all of the topics that are on the test. You can find those videos, DVDs only, at our library. Also, we have two algebra series. One is called Algebra Today, and one is called Algebra Made Easy. Those DVDs were filmed here in San Juan High School with Jenna Roberts, who is a very good algebra teacher. And every DVD that you check out is going to come with a workbook. So if you'd like to register for TV classes, you can do that, and you can also be a library student. You can also just come down to the library and come check out materials. Or you could also take classes in person at Sunrise Tech Center and Winterstein Adult Center. If you would like any information about anything that I've talked about, you can call the number that comes up on your screen, 916-971-7408. Or you can email me as a registered student, and you will have access to my webpage. So this is called Essential Skills. This is the name of my show. It's an adult basic education class, which means if you're 18 or older, you can be a registered student in my class. You need to have pretty much advanced English. If your English is not your first language, you must be able to communicate in reading, speaking, listening, and writing in English. This is not an English class. This is an adult education class, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we focus on. As of right now, the new shows are on Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. And depending on your cable provider, There are repeat shows on the weekends, usually Sunday, 10 in the morning to 11 is my Monday show, and from 11 to 12 is the Wednesday show. That could change, and also in the evenings. You just have to check your local listings on Comcast and SureWest. So as I mentioned, this is a paperless class that has its own website. This is the address for the website, but it will be password protected, so you can only access that as a registered student. You must have an email address, so there is an opportunity for you to write your email address very clearly, please, on the registration form that we send to you if you would like to be a student. And I'd like you to check your internet and to my webpage at least twice a week. I have blogs, I have downloadable materials, lots of links to other websites, and lots of great information for you. So what will this class teach? Why should you be in this class? Well, if you have any interest in improving your workplace skills such as how to find a job, how to search for a job, how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter, how to prepare for a job interview, how to answer interview questions, what to do after the interview. And then once you do get that dream job or the job that you want for a while, how do you succeed and excel in that job? We're going to talk about communicating with customers, communicating with your coworkers, communicating with supervisors. We're going to talk about email etiquette, how to develop yourself professionally. We have vocabulary, and we have lots of grammar and lots of really great advanced adult skills that will help you get ahead. And we also have math. I am going to show you DVDs, pretty much every TV show that I have. I'll show you either a basic math DVD, which is today, I'll show you one called Tools for Success, Math 1. And I also show you the series Algebra Made Easy and Algebra Today. And as I will always mention, those DVDs are available if you want to watch the whole thing at Sunrise Tech Center. You can come down and check out the DVD, and you get a workbook too. And if you are taking the preparation for the GED, if you'd like to take the GED test, this is a really great show to also register for too, because it helps you apply that knowledge once you get out into the workplace. So I hope that you will be interested in watching my show. Lots of really great topics. We even talk about topics for parents. If you have children who are in school, some really interesting topics out there that are important today. We talk about healthy habits, and we also talk about financial responsibility, how to buy a car, all these different topics. So my goal today is to introduce you to some topics that I already have prepared for you throughout the school year. But it's very important that you have an email address. And if you don't have an email address by now, I'm going to very quickly show you how you can do that. Usually you can get email addresses for free. All of my email addresses I never had to pay for. And Google has a free Gmail account. So Gmail will be your domain. And you'll just go to this website, google.com, and you can click on Gmail at the top of the screen. And then you can create an account and enter your information and enjoy your new email address. I strongly encourage you, if you do create an email address or you have an email address now, I want you to right now be absolutely sure that that is a professional sounding email address. I don't want you to write ilovebubblegum@gmail.com or hotbabe. It has to be part of your name. Maybe your initials, like mine is M. Daly for Melissa Daly, or melissadaly@gmail.com. You want it to be a very professional email address. That's my very first lesson to you, because you must present yourself professionally on paper in resumes and job applications, and that is the first thing that employers will see is what type of email address did you choose. So choose wisely. Also, Hotmail has a free email set up, and it's on msn.com. Same thing, you click on Hotmail at the top of the screen, click on sign up, enter your information, and enjoy. So it's really up to you. You have a lot of opportunities. On some phones, some cell phones, you can directly access your email. And my phone, I cannot access Hotmail. So I have a Hotmail account, I have a Gmail account, I have a school account. I've got so many different accounts. But just be aware that the one that you'll use the most often, and you want it to be professional sounding. So we are going to watch a show today on all the topics that we're going to cover this year on essential skills and show a math DVD. It is my hope that I can show you from lessons 1 to 12 today, or maybe 13 to 22 on the next show. I have 22 shows prepared for you this year. So I'll try to get through as many as I can with about 20 minutes left at the end of the show to show you a math DVD. So in our very first lesson, 1A and 1B is how I number them. Sometimes the numbers might be out of sequence. Don't focus so much on the number. What's important is the topic. And every week I'll cover something totally different. So on the first week's program, I have 1A and 1B. And the name of that show is Planning to Work and what jobs are good in a recession. You're going to watch a show on which jobs are popular and needed in our local economy. And as part of this class, I'm always researching, trying to update you on the most wanted jobs, the most high-paying jobs, and those jobs that are available in Sacramento. And as right now the economy is not that great, it's better, but it's not really great. And I'm going to show you what jobs are good in a recession. And just to clarify, I have 22 weeks of programming and 44 shows. So you have 44 opportunities to learn something new on essential skills. So I have 22 weeks of programming already scheduled for you. I'm so excited about. So the first thing that we need to talk about when we talk about starting something new, planning to work, we need to say, what is our plan? We must have a plan. All of us as adults know that nothing ever gets done by sitting on the couch and just dreaming about it. It's good for a while, but action doesn't really take place there. But you need to have that dream. And the first week of programming, we call that a vision. What is your vision? What is your ultimate goal? And it can be something very big, like you would like to own a home. You would like to be a manager. You would like to be able to travel to Paris. I mean, make it something specific. And I always will use the example for me, playing guitar, because I only started playing guitar a couple of years ago. I have no musical experience, and I've always dreamed about playing the guitar. Well, you know, time doesn't wait for me, and I decided to get off of my rear end and go and get the lessons, and I've been doing it every week for about 2 years. So I'm going to always tie back that experience to this outline, planning to work. So you have your vision. What is your dream? Let's say, for me, it's learning how to play the guitar. What is your plan? You need to have an outline of the steps. I'm going to attend class every Thursday at 5:30. I'm going to attend a guitar class. I am going to practice at least 20 to 40 minutes every single day at the same time every day, a certain method of practice to achieve my vision. And you must have a purpose. What is the reason? You need to have a reason to do anything, to really make that plan work. What is the purpose? Why? What is the reason? Well, because I like to have a musical hobby, and it's really good for my brain. And also, it's also created for me a whole other social world that is very important to me, because I don't come from Sacramento, and I love going to see live music, and I love classical music and pop music. And so my purpose was I could have some way to meet people and also develop a skill of my own. Resource. A resource, that means something that you need to achieve that vision and achieve that goal. What do you need to be a good guitar player? Well, I need a guitar. I need a teacher. I need the books. I need a tuner. I need my metronome that goes click, click, so it can keep beat. I need to have a chair. I need to have the time. I need to have the money to pay for my lessons. You have to list all of those things that you need to achieve that goal. And then finally, a timeline, a list of steps and when you want to accomplish them. This is also really good if you have a goal such as saving money. If you'd like to save $2,000 by the end of the year, you definitely need to have a plan to save money, a purpose. Why are you saving this money? And the things that you need to do to save money, maybe you need to cut back somewhere else, maybe you need to pick up another job, pick up odd jobs in the neighborhood, and a timeline. Every month I will deposit 10% of my earnings. List of steps and when you want to accomplish them. Very important to do. In my show 2A and 2B, we talk about green jobs. You will hear a lot about green economy. And California has invested a lot of money in trying to develop training and jobs that stimulate the economy, but also are creating jobs that make California more efficient. And this show, I describe what all of that is. And this is the website. I'll usually give you a website whenever I use research from another place. And this website is edf.org/CA, which means California Green Jobs. And according to the website, at least 100,000 new jobs will be created in California, including manufacturing, installation, and fabrication of materials that improve efficiency, such as solar panels on roofs, or hydroelectric dams, or wind turbines. So let me give you some examples of what types of opportunities are available in green jobs, if that interests you. Operations, learning how to operate machinery that create these types of panels, for example. Green buildings, these are buildings that are very energy efficient. Maybe the next time you buy a refrigerator or a washer or a dryer, it would be an energy efficient one. Renewable energies means, recycling, composting minerals, recycling things to make them used for energy again. Power plant operations, they need people to manage those power plants and those facilities. And farming. Farming is a really big deal. Maybe you have an interest in creating a little garden this year. And all of that is very important for green jobs. Farming is a really, really big industry in California. The 9th largest economy in the world is California farming. Did you know that? Or maybe it's the 8th. I think it was the 9th. I don't know. I'll have to research that. So let me talk to you about some training. A lot of you say, well, I would love to have a green job. I would be interested in learning how to install solar panels on a roof. What type of training is available? Well, you can get basic job training, such as developing your skills. In my class, learning how to write a resume, how to develop yourself professionally, how to present yourself professionally in a job interview. Also, you can get job placement assistance. Throughout this year, I'm going to talk to you about lots of services that are available in Sacramento. One of them is called Sacramento Works Career Center, and they will help you with job placement, and they'll also help you decide which areas are best suited for you and your abilities and your interests. They'll give you career placement tests. Also, if you're in high school and you're watching the show, but you're not really ready for adult basic education because you're not 18 or older, you can get high school youth services such as ROP, regional occupational programs. Some schools here in Sacramento offer you a skill that you can carry with you the rest of your life and is part of your high school program, and such as culinary arts or bricklaying or auto mechanics, things like that, electrician. Electricians get a lot of money, like $70 an hour, and I know because I have to pay for them for my electric work in my home. Unions and colleges and private companies all offer training for you to get that green job. Let's talk a little bit about what green jobs mean here. I'll give you a few examples of what we'll talk about in my show. And we'll talk about renewable power. One of the biggest types of renewable power out there is solar power, using the sun's power to heat water or charge battery cells to heat buildings and heat water and things such as that. So some of these jobs that will be available in California are solar development and manufacturing, solar lab technician, solar hot water heater, manufacturing technician. These are some of the jobs that are available. And I'll show you lots of other jobs. But those people that know how to fabricate and install these solar panels, anything to do with solar energy, it's a really big market. Installation and maintenance, solar roofers, solar residential electricians, salespeople, managers, helpers. So important. Wind power is another huge type of renewable power in California. Building windmills to generate power in wind turbines, these things that turn. Wind development and manufacturing, installation and maintenance, engineering, design, and project management. Project management is a really big industry now. They need managers that will just oversee every project and make sure everything is on a timeline, the budgets are being met. It's a really great skill to have, is to be organized and know how to manage your time and resources. The next show, 3A and 3B, is the degree dilemma. A lot of you out there need to make a decision. Are you going to go to college, or are you going to try to just get the job that you want and just work, and then hopefully you can get some more education later down the road? How do you know if going to college is better for you than getting a job right after you get that GED or right after you get that diploma? How do you know? Well, you don't know. It really depends on the employer. It depends on your skill. It depends on the job that you're looking for. Some employers require you to have a degree. For example, if you want to teach, for example, in a university, you must have a degree. If you want to be a manager at McDonald's, maybe you don't need a degree, but you will need to know how to operate the French fry machine and the cash register, know how to wear their uniform. You must know how to communicate effectively with people. You must be professional and respectful. You must show motivation. So it really depends on the employer. If you don't have a degree and it's a very competitive workforce, it can be challenging, but you can overcome it. A lot of people I know are very successful and did not complete their college degree, did not earn their college degree. So think about success. Success is not measured by the degrees you have, but by the person you are. You can have a lot of college degrees, but if you have no motivation to work, or if you are not a nice person to deal with, I promise you, you won't get that far in a corporation where communication is really important, okay? So I want you to not worry about that. Just figure out, you need to know yourself, you need to know what direction you want to go in. So the number one thing I'll tell you is you need to figure out what you want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, you just have all these interests, but you just don't know how to gather your focus, you can very easily go to Sacramento Works Career Center or any career counselor, and you can take a career self-test. And those career self-tests, you can find them online, and you can determine, do you like to work inside or outside? Can you work with a group of people, or do you prefer to work alone? Do you prefer to have people give you directions as you go along, or do you want to work by yourself and only come back and ask for help when you need it? These are very important things to know about yourself. Number two, if you want to work in a certain job or a certain environment, you must research it. Research that work environment for the job you want and the companies that hire. And my website here that I used suggests to contact the managers and ask for an informational interview. Now, some companies don't really do that. And just most recently, I was reading an article that informational interviews are not that common because a lot of managers don't have the time, and a lot of people want that job. But you can very easily, on your own, Google the company or the type of job that you want and research what type of environment it is, what type of training they generally require, and go from there. You need to do some of the work yourself. Other thing that you need to do is you need to know all of the skills that you have and be able to put everything on paper. So what you need to start doing is gathering any papers on workshops that you've attended, any seminars. Do you have any certificates? Have you volunteered at any events? Anything that showcases your skills. It's very important to know what those are, because nothing is worse than you're in an interview and they ask you a question about some skill and you don't have the skill, and you go back home and you know what, I did have that skill. I volunteered at a fundraiser, I was in charge of it, and because of that fundraiser, I was able to earn a lot of money for the company that day, and I totally forgot. If you can gather all of that in advance and have it on paper, you will look organized, and of course, you'll just have more skills to present during that interview. So at any time, it's really easy to do. You can pick up the paper, you can go online and check out events in Sacramento. You can take classes and workshops that expand your knowledge, but also workshops and classes that expand your interests, because a lot of success in a job is that you have a passion for it. You have an interest in it. Nobody can be really successful at something unless they're interested in it, right? So you never know. If you have an interest in photography, you might be able to get a job sometime taking pictures for a newspaper or for an agency. This is how a lot of these jobs start. So take classes. Sacramento has lots of different schools. San Juan School District has Sunrise Tech Center, Winterstein Adult Center. There's also the Learning Exchange. I've taken classes from the Learning Exchange, so fun. Cooking classes, art classes, guitar classes. Everything is out there. You just have to go for it. And finally, be yourself. Play up your most desirable traits in social situations. Nothing is worse than you hire somebody or you're talking to somebody and you're acting like something you're not, and then when you get to the job and it doesn't work. You need to show your personality. It's not fair to that person interviewing you. It's not fair to yourself or to your family or to your coworkers to act like something that you're not. Ultimately, you won't be happy in that situation. And you must communicate effectively with other people. This is probably one of the most important things that I would suggest for you. If you can develop good interviewing skills, good speaking skills, writing skills, and social skills, you'll make a great lasting impression. And it's very important to be positive. Speak positively about former employers. Be nice and respectful. No matter how you're feeling, if you're having the worst day of your life, it's not anybody else's fault who's there at work. And if it is, you zip your lip and you be polite. You never know when it's going to backfire. The fourth week of lessons, I'm going to talk about how to dress for a job interview and in a business setting. It kind of goes for any type of formal business or a situation where you have to present yourself in a professional way. So customer service especially, appearance does matter. In other environments, it doesn't matter really how you look. Can you think of any? For example, if you have the opportunity to work at home at a computer job, it doesn't matter how you look. Construction jobs, physical labor, you will want to wear, of course, probably some really durable jeans or something like that. Or a job where you have to have a uniform. But, of course, you have to have your hair nice and you have to be, clean shaven. If you're a man, brush your teeth, have your hygiene up to speed. But for a job interview, and that is very, very important. And it is best to dress conservatively for a job interview. What does conservatively mean? We'll talk about that in that show. But I need to let you know that 55% of people's perception of you is based on your appearance. And I know that that's true. If you look at somebody, you go, oh my gosh, look at that person. And then you realize maybe that was a really rich person, but they just didn't bathe. I mean, yeah, all you have is that appearance. That's happened to me, actually. A very famous man who is no longer living. I saw him in Paris. He was a choreographer. And I thought he was a bum. And I learned that he was a famous choreographer from New York City. And I couldn't believe that that was him, but he was famous. Because of his appearance, he was a vagabond. Interesting. So one more thing I want to leave you with here on my Dress for Success show is if between now and the time you watch that show, you have the opportunity to go on a job interview, first of all, good luck. And secondly, I need to let you know that there are some things that you should not bring to the interview. So if nothing else, if you can remember this, do not chew gum at that job interview. Don't bring your cell phone in there. I don't care if it's on vibrate, off, whatever. Don't even bring it in. Because a lot of times you'll be distracted. Don't bring your iPod. Don't bring any music. Do not bring in any drink, coffee or soda. If you need a bottle of water, that's fine. Make sure it has a cap on it and you're not shaking it. You don't have it in your hand during the job interview. Keep it on the floor. And do not bring your friends with you and do not bring your children. And unfortunately, I have to say that, but I've been told by professionals that some people bring their kids to job interviews, and I promise you, you won't get the job. Don't bother. You put them in daycare or leave them with a friend or family member for a couple of hours while you get your focus. Because ultimately, the reason you're going for that job is to provide for that child. Don't want to screw it up, so don't bring your friends or your children. We're going to talk a little bit more about job interview skills. So now we talked about dressing for the job interview. The next week's lesson 5A and 5B, we're going to talk about job interview skills. And a lot of us do, but I'll be opening my show in that fifth week by asking if you ever get nervous before a job interview. And what's so stressful about going to a job interview? What can be so stressful about that? Well, you're meeting someone new. You have to sell yourself, present yourself in a professional way. You have to talk about yourself. It's really hard for people to talk about their strengths. Why are they so great? Why should you hire me? You have to describe your weaknesses. What are some bad things about your personality and your work character? And you need to make a very good first impression. You only have one chance. So being nervous before a job interview is normal. It means you care about it and you really do want to make an effort. So let's get over that and focus on the task, really doing well at a job interview. So my lesson in week 5 will describe what you can do to lower your stress and focus on getting the job. Preparation and practice are important to your job interview success. And some of my students actually have called me, they've emailed me to help practice with their questions and answers, and I love doing it. I'll help you anytime you want, even on the weekend if you need it. Just let me know in advance. I'd like to talk to you about some job interview mistakes if you have an opportunity to have a job interview between now and the 5th week of our classes. People who do not prepare for a job interview, it's very obvious that they don't care. If you do not dress appropriately, if you're wearing something that you go to the gym in or you go to bed in, you won't get the job. If you do not communicate effectively, if you're mumbling, if you're looking down, if you're not making eye contact, if you are talking too much, if you're moving your hands a lot, being very distracting. There's a difference between not enough and too much, especially when it comes to communication. If you're talking on and on and on about things that are not part of the job interview, that person will start tuning you out. If you're talking too much, it will be annoying. If you don't talk enough, yes, no, and you don't elaborate, you don't give any details or examples of the work that you've done, they can't guess, they can't read your mind. Also, fuzzy facts. If you say one thing one time, yes, I worked at the bank in 2000. Yeah, I worked at the bank back in 1994. Like, wait a minute, I thought you said 2000. Or if your information isn't matching, like your name or your information on your resume doesn't match the job application, it doesn't match to what you're saying at the job interview. Make sure everything is there. That's also why we're gathering all our papers and our certifications. If you give the wrong answer. And it's hard to know if it's the wrong answer. Sometimes we have an idea if it's the wrong answer. But giving the wrong answer is not good. And number 9, bad-mouthing past employers. If you've had a bad situation with one of your former supervisors or coworkers, you need to understand that that's something that people who are paid to give job interviews, they'll be listening for that. And a lot of us have had bad experiences with our bosses or coworkers. You know, we're all adults now. We've had a few jobs, and you know, we can't get along with everyone. But you need to describe it in a way that makes you look professional and respectful to that person, no matter what. And if you forget to follow up, that means I want you the next day at the latest, usually that day, I suggest to send a thank you card in the mail. And it must say thank you on it. It can't have a big picture of a bunny and a big heart. Very professional and simple, and you send it to that person who interviewed you, and you thank them for their time, and you hope that you will hear from them soon. And following up is very important. A lot of people and a lot of research out there indicates that people will get the job if they follow up more often than not. And then we're going to go on to job hunting tips in week number 6. As of the time of this show, there are 9 million employers in the U.S. 9 million people are looking for people to work for them. 151 million workers in the U.S. And every year, 3 million of us are looking for work. But look at this, 50 million jobs will be created between 2006 and 2016. Think of all the jobs that have been created just in the cell phone industry, applications, all these internet jobs. There are a lot of jobs that didn't exist even 5 years ago that are in big demand now. All the media arts, graphic artists, computer website designers. That's just websites. So there is a place for you in the job market, but you must be organized, you must be prepared, and employers are interested in you if you can sell yourself and your skills. There is a place for you. How do you choose an occupation? Well, as I mentioned before, Sacramento Works Career Center is a really great place to start. This is a picture of all of the workshops and seminars that they offer. At the time of this show, they were free. You can contact a career counselor to help you out. This is the phone number. There it is, 676-2540, or you can visit their website and then download the whole master schedule of all of the workshops that they offer throughout Sacramento. So career counselors won't choose a job for you. They won't get you hired, but they can offer you special tests. They can offer you access to their computer lab, and they can help you explore some options and help you with your resume and your job interview questions. So please give them a call. All right, so a lot of you have this problem, and this is just a snapshot of the show in the lesson 6B. Say that Cindy wants a job as a salesperson at an interior design store, but she has no experience selling. She loves interior design, but she is trying to be a salesperson. She has no experience selling. Is she going to get that job? Well, she could if she can sell herself and think of all of the skills that relate to being successful at that job. So Cindy has decorating skills, and she designs interiors for her friends' apartments and all of her family's homes and their apartments. So people do want her to decorate their home. So she has skill, and so obviously she has a passion and an interest in interior design. Also, she's great at public speaking, and she was on the debate team in high school. That means she's able to communicate effectively, and if people have something that they think is a problem, she's able to turn that back around and look at it a different way. So she's really good at sales. And also she's an achiever. She competed in 5 bicycle races this year. That means she's motivated, she has goals, she takes those steps to achieve those goals. So, I mean, generally her personality would indicate that she just might be successful as a salesperson even though she has no direct experience selling. So think about that when you go through your job hunting journey. Think about all those skills that could relate to the job that you want. In 7th week of lessons, I'm showing you a great video, how to buy a car, with my friend Chris Bauman. He, at the time, worked at Nielo Volkswagen, and he helps us through the entire process. He sits us down, goes through all the paperwork, all of those steps that you need to know about if you want to buy a car. And also, we talk about the options, the terms, the common mistakes about buying a car. We talk about new car versus used car, finding a used car. How do you do that? We talk about the internet. It's a really big thing now. You used to have to physically go to a car lot. Remember those days? Now you can shop online. What to know before you shop? You need to know about yourself. You need to know about the car. And you need to know, how are you going to buy this car? Are you going to finance it? Are you going to get a loan from your credit union? Are you going to use cash? Are you going to trade in your car? And then after you get that car, there could be some problems, and we go through all of those options with warranties and what to do about that car purchase. So I hope that you tune in week 7. And the 8th week of lessons, we talk about resume writing, how to write a powerful resume. You must have a resume by now as an adult. It's a summarized work history. It advertises your skills in the way that you want it to be written, and it's your brochure, and it shows what great skills you have and why you should be hired. It's so important, and you can make it very powerful by watching my show and using those lessons that I present to you. Let's just give you a real quick question here. How long do you think it takes a hiring manager to look over each resume that they receive? How long do you think that they will take in their day to look at each resume? Will they look at that resume for 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, or 10 seconds? How long do you think that manager has? The answer is 10 seconds. They're going to take, in the time that I finish this sentence, they're going to glance at your resume and decide if they're going to call you for an interview or not. So that means that powerful resume must be absolutely perfect. It must stand out from the rest, and you need to have every single word be some type of action, some type of result. It's not difficult to write a resume. Let me tell you, it's not difficult. It's a very worthwhile and valuable task. You're going to be able to use examples and details from my show. The 2 shows, I have 8A and 8B, and you can learn buzzwords and action verbs to make your resume stand out in a crowd. So all you need to do is just know the tools, and you just plug in those great words and those examples and details to show the hiring manager that you're talented, responsible, and actively involved in your duties. And job interviews sometimes do look like that. I had a job interview where there were probably 8 people and me there answering questions, and it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. All right, the 9th week of lessons, we talk about sexual harassment in the workplace. Sexual harassment is a form of sex discrimination in the workplace. That's unwelcome sexual advances. It's very important to talk about this topic as adults when we're in the workplace, because you want to develop relationships with coworkers, but sometimes they could cross the line, and you need to know when that is. If you're the one that's maybe joking too much, or you tell jokes that are not appropriate in the workplace, or someone is offending you, they're massaging your shoulders and you don't want to be touched, all of these things are illegal in the workplace in the state of California. And I am not a lawyer, but I'm going to present to you the most basic facts about sexual harassment in the workplace. Then the next show, I'm going to talk to you about workplace romance, a little different. What about when 2 people at work like each other and they want to date? What happens then? And this is a very famous TV show, The Office, where they have a workplace romance going on. And you can see there's problems with sexual harassment, but there will also be problems in the workplace if you're dating someone. What happens if you end up breaking up or something happens and you still have to see that person every day? It really affects your personality, your character, and your focus at work. So we're going to talk about that too. Workplace romances are common. Almost half of workers participated in job romance in 2003. And 19% of workers would if they could. If they had a chance to date somebody at work, they would. So what should employers do? What would you do? And what do you think should be done? Very interesting show, I think. All right, and 10A, we're going to talk about math in the workplace. How to build on the methods that you know, understanding what numbers mean and why they're so valuable in the workplace, learning about fractions and decimals and rates. The relationship between two things is a rate, and trying to visualize the problem. I'm going to show you a video, which is really great to highlight how to apply workplace math in your professional career. We all have some vocabulary. Number sense is the ability to understand numbers. Observation, the act of noting an event. Estimating and calculation. Very different. You can estimate as a guess based on facts, and calculation is using the rules. And all of these are very important things to know when you're doing math in the workplace. My 11th week of lessons, we're going to talk about the job outlook. At least this was from 2010, my most recent research. And we're going to learn what jobs are needed in Sacramento, what industries are popular. And then the next show is called Communicating with Customers. That's 12A. And communicating with customers is absolutely important. I know some people can't do it that well, and they can't do it all day long, especially when someone's complaining at you. I had a friend in Michigan who was customer service at a bank, and she would just come home in tears because people were calling her and swearing at her because their money wasn't there. It wasn't her fault, but she had to take on all of that emotion. It was a very difficult job for her, and it was hard for her to be nice. You know, she tried to be very polite. She was not good at it, and she didn't like it, and I totally understand that. So it really takes a special personality to be good at customer service. And it's important to remember that businesses need a good product, but they must have good customer service. And you can think about restaurants. When the food is great, but if the service is bad, you won't go back. And you're going to tell all your friends and family, right, that service was bad. It's important to listen to what the customer is saying. Listening is such an important skill. People think that speaking is an important skill, but it's really listening, especially when it comes to customer service. How you speak to customers is more important than what you say. We've all been on the receiving end when someone did not speak to us nicely, even though what they said might have been fine. So think about that. And then it's important to let the customers talk, listen to them, tell them that you will help them. They want to be reassured. Tips for customer care. Let's give you a little sample of what you'll see on that week's show. You're on stage. People are looking. You're going to represent the company and the product. You have external and internal customers. People on the outside, and then also your internal customers are all your coworkers, your supervisors, the people that help you in your job. It's important to remember this acronym HELP, hear, empathize, lead, and provide. You're going to hear the customer's problem, you're going to empathize, which means to put yourself in their position. You're going to lead them to a path of a solution and then provide them the solution. It's very important if you're giving customer service to thank that person, to give gratitude, give thanks for their time and for their money and for their care and their concern. And it's very important to update your language skills. Instead of saying, no, I can't help you, you'll say, yes, we're going to find a solution. Instead of saying, oh, this is a problem, you can say, oh, this is a challenge. Updating your language skills in those very small ways really help create a more positive experience for customer care. So at this point, I'm going to leave it. That was the 12th week of shows. My next show, Intro B, I'm going to present to you, hopefully I'll get through them all, lessons 13 through 22, talk about what I'll be presenting during the school year. So right now I want to show you this really awesome math DVD. This was from Susan Baggett, one of our very favorite teachers. She's retired now, but we just love her and think about her and talk about her all the time. It was a show called Tools for Success. And this is a show called Math 1, and she's going to talk about fractions, decimals, and all that. And so watch the show, and I'll see you back in a little while.
On math today, we're hoping to go through addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, also going through finding averages and medians, and then working into fractions. I think that's about all that we'll be able to get into today. Probably some decimal work also. And then in our upcoming class, the next class that you will see this week, we hope to continue on, and I'm going to try to get you through most of the basic math that you're going to need in your everyday lives, and also for those of you who are watching this class and are also GED students. We have found that if you have a basis in the basic math, and if you have those skills down, it really does help you in the GED test. So we're going to start right in. As you can see, I have a problem up here already. We're just going to be using the whiteboard today. Before we get in, we're adding numbers here. And first, we're going to take a look at these numbers, and they are made up of digits. And if you look at these numbers, if I were to read this bottom number, it would be 24,332. And what we're looking at right here, as you notice, the digits are set up right in line. These are the ones. That means when I'm looking at this digit, that 2 is just in the ones place, and it equals 2. We're looking at the 3, but the 3 is in the tens place. So what this 3 actually represents is 30. It's saying there are 3 tens and 2 ones. Then if we move over here, this is in the hundreds place. This would be 300. Here we've got our 3 tens, which is 30, and 2. And if we keep moving over, we're going into the thousands, 10,000s, and hundreds of thousands. So before we get going with our numbers, you do need to know about digit placement, and that a digit can have a different value depending on where it sets in that number. Here, the 4 is, well, let's see, that's not a good example. Let's look at this one. This 1 actually has a larger value than the 6. Now, if we look at digits, we would think 6 is the larger digit, but 6 is in the ones place. The 1 is in the thousands place. So this 1 is representing 1,000. Well, now that we've gone over that, we are just going to work the problem. Here's a simple addition problem. And what we do is we start from the right and work to the left when we are adding and subtracting. So we're going to add up our ones first. 6 and 2 is 8. 3 plus 3 is 6. 5 plus 3 is 8. 1 plus 4 is 5. And 4 plus 2 is 6. So our answer is 65,868. We've started with a very, very easy problem. We haven't even had to regroup or carry. We've just added straight up and down ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. So we ended up with 65,868. Let's take a look at our next problem. We're going to add one little wrinkle to this. If we're adding 746, and we're adding that to 1,517, we're going to do the same thing. We start on the right side. We're just going to add up our ones. 6 and 7 is 13, but notice we can't write a 13 in that ones place. We have to carry or regroup. The 13 is actually made up of 3 ones and 1 10. So we carry that 10 over into the 10 slot. I just called it carrying when I learned. Some of you may know it as regrouping the digits. So 6 and 7 is 13. Carry that 1. 1 and 4 is 5, and 1 is 6. 7 and 5 is 12. Again, regrouping, carrying that over. 1 and 1 is 2. So our answer is 2,263. Very easy. We're working on basic stuff right here. Let's move in. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're going to move quickly. 8,009. Now let's take a look at how important our zeros are. If we add 8,009 to 1,703, and we're adding up 9 and 3 is 12, we're going to carry that 1 over here. Now, even though these don't have a whole lot of value, they are holding a place to let us know this would be where the tens would be. So now we've carrying that over, so we've got 12. 0 and 7 is 7. 8 and 1 is 9. 9,712. Okay, that's basic addition. Let's take a look at some subtraction, and we're going to do the same thing. With subtracting, we've got 457. And we're going to take away, or minus, 326. Again, we're going to start with a very simple one. We start at the right with the ones. 7 minus 6 is 1. 5 take away 2 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Very easy. 131. 131. We didn't have to do anything. But let's take a look at the next one. Let's write up another problem. If we have 815 and we are subtracting 346, what do we do here? We've got 6, and we're going to take that away from 5. But we can't. 5 minus 6, well, we could get into minus numbers, but if we are just working with this, 815 minus 346, what can we do? We can borrow from that 10. We're going to leave a 0 up there. And then we are going to borrow and put a 15 minus 6 is 9. Now, 0 minus 4, again, we can't take 4 away from 0. We have to borrow from that 8, which leaves a 7. That gives us a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 7 minus 3 is 4. So we have 469 as our answer, borrowing from the other digits. Let's take a look at one that might be even just a little bit more challenging for you, but it's using that same concept. What if we had a number 6,000 and we are subtracting 345? What are we going to do here? We can't take 5 away from 0. We can't even borrow from that. We have to move all the way over to a number we can borrow from and leave a 5 there. That would make this a 10. We're going to have to borrow from that and leave a 9. That makes that a 10. Borrow again and leave a 9. Now we've got 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 5 minus nothing is 5. So our answer is 5,655. Leave that up there just for a moment. Just notice how you've got to go all the way over here to borrow. Okay, we've done our basic adding and subtracting. Now let's just add one more little thing into that before we move on to multiplication and division. Let's take a look at adding and subtracting money. A little bit later, we're going to be looking at decimals. But right now, let's just take a look at, we're using decimals, but we all deal with money every day. What if we had $112.03 and we added $435.98. Now, what do we do here? We do the same thing as if we're just adding regular numbers, but we're going to be very careful and notice that on this side we're dealing with cents, here we're dealing with dollars, and if you know dealing with money, 100 cents or 100 pennies makes up $1. So as soon as we have gotten to our 100 cents over here, it's going to carry over onto our whole dollar side. But we add it up just the way we do regular numbers. 3 and 8 is what? 11. Carry that 1. 1 and 9 is 10. So we're going to carry that over into our dollar section. 1 and 2 is 3, and 5 is 8. 1 and 3 is 4. 4 and 1 is 5. So our answer here is $548.01. Just remembering, you keep that, whenever we're adding or subtracting with decimals, you want to keep your decimal point in a straight line going down, or as straight as you can get it. I'm not very good about keeping them real straight on the board. Okay, we've looked at adding. Let's subtract with decimals, and it's the same basic idea. We've got our dollars, $338. And how many cents? 90 cents. And we're going to subtract.
I hope hope that you enjoyed that Tools for Success Math 1. So that is my show, Essential Skills. Please tune in for the next show. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about during the year. I want to leave you with a quote of the day. Clarence Thomas, U.S. administrator and lawyer, and he says, "Good manners will open doors that the best education cannot." So always be respectful, professional, and dignified and polite, no matter who it is and what you do. Until then, see you next time on Essential Skills. Thank you for watching.